أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عما يتساءلون عن النبأ العظيم الذي هم فيه مختلفون. كلا سيعلمون ثم كلا سيعلمون. ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا وخلقناكم أزواجا وجعلنا نومكم سباتا وجعلنا الليل لباسا وجعلنا النهار معاشا وبنينا فوقكم سبعا شدادا وجعلنا سراجا وهاجا وأنزلنا من المعصرات ماء ثجاجا لنخرج به حبا ونباتا وجنات ألفافا. إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا يوم ينفخ في الصور فتأتون أفواجا وفتحت السماء فكانت أبوابا وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا. إن جهنم كانت مرصادا للطاغين مآبا لابثين فيها أحقابا لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا إلا حميما وغساقا جزاء وفاقا. إنهم كانوا لا يرجون حسابا وكذبوا بآياتنا كذابا وكل شيء أحصيناه كتابا فذوقوا فلن نزيدكم إلا عذابا. إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا. رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا. يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا. ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا. إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت وعليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. الله. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء. فقال لي أبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. الله. الفاتحة.
محمد والے اجل فرجو. اپنے نزدیک جو زہرا کو تڑپتا دیکھا جوڑ کر ہاتھ حسین ابن علی نے یہ کہا آپ کے واسطے وعدے کو نبھاؤں اماں دے اجازت کہ میں سر اپنا کٹاؤں اماں. کہا شبیر نے رو کر چلے گا حلق پر خنجر بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ. کہا شبیر نے رو کر چلے گا حلق پر خنجر بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ. نہ دیکھا جائے گا تم سے ہماری موت کا منظر بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ. بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ. میری گردن پہ اے اماں چھری ظالم چلائے گا، نہ جس زانو وہ اپنا جس گھڑی سینے پہ رکھے گا، گھٹے گا دم بہت میرا، چلے گی سانس رک رک کر، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، ہر ایک مشکل میں اے اماں مدد کی آپ نے میری، ہمارے ساتھ دریا سے اٹھائی لاش غازی کی، تمہارا شکریہ تم نے اٹھایا لاش اکبر، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، یہیں سے الوداع کہہ دو، ہمارے پیچھے مت آنا، تمہارا پہلو زخمی ہے، نہیں تم سے چلا جانا، ہمیں تکلیف ہوتی ہے جو تم چلتی ہو جھک جھک کر، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، جو تم جھک جھک کے چلتی ہو تمہیں پہچان جائے گی، تمہارے بین سن کے تو اس کی جان جائے گی، کہیں گھبرا کے زینب آ نہ جائے رن میں بھی بے چادر، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، کہا شبیر نے رو کر، چلے گا حلق پر خنجر، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، بس اب اماں چلی جاؤ، صلوات۔
برائے خوشنودی امام زمانہ بلندتر صلوات۔ جناب شہادت پہ مرضی کی طرح.
وطن سے چھٹ کے کوئی خستہ جاں شہید نہ ہو. وطن سے چھٹ کے کوئی خستہ جاں شہید نہ ہو. کوئی مسافر بے خانہ ماں شہید نہ ہو. کوئی مسافر بے خانہ ماں شہید نہ ہو. کسی کے گھر پہ کوئی مہمان شہید نہ ہو. شہید ہو تو وہ تشنا دہاں شہید نہ ہو. شہید ہو تو وہ تشنا دہاں شہید نہ ہو. سفر میں موت کا آنا بڑی مصیبت ہے. جو لاش دفن نہ ہو اور بھی قیامت ہے. جو لاش دفن نہ ہو اور بھی قیامت ہے. ہوا یہ ظلم زمانے میں دو غریبوں پر. وہ ایک بے کس و مضطر ہے فاطمہ کا پسر. اور ایک مسلم بے پر غریب و خستہ جگر. کوئی نہ ان کا معین تھا نہ آپ کا یاور. کوئی نہ ان کا معین تھا نہ آپ کا یاور. قلق یہ تھا کہ شہ مشرقین بھی بچھڑے. پرائے دیس میں دو نور عین بھی بچھڑے. پرائے دیس میں دو نور عین بھی بچھڑے. مقیم خانہ ہانی تھے مسلم پرغام. انہیں بھی قتل کیا ظالموں نے ہائے ستم. یہ انقلاب یہ رنگ یہ دو رنگی یہ عالم. اماں کی فکر میں در در پھرے سفیر حرام. اماں کی فکر میں در در پھرے سفیر حرام. بڑھی جو پیاس بہت تھر تھرا کے بیٹھ گئے. قریب شب در تو آپ آ کے بیٹھ گئے. قریب شب در تو آپ آ کے بیٹھ گئے. مکان سے نکلی جو تو تو بولی گھبرا کر کہ آپ کون ہیں بیٹھے ہیں کس لیے در پر. کہ آپ کون ہیں بیٹھے ہیں کس لیے در پر. دبی زباں سے کہا ایک غریب ہوں خواہر. پلا دے آپ مجھے بحر ساقیے کوثر. پلا دے آپ مجھے بحر ساقیے کوثر. یہ سن کے نظریں امام انام لے آئی. محل میں جا کے وہ پانی کا جام لے آئی. محل میں جا کے وہ پانی کا جام لے آئی. وہ آب پی کے بھی اٹھے نہ جب تو اس نے کہا کہ پانی پی چکے اب گھر کو جاؤ بہر خدا. اسیر کرنے کو مسلم کے پھرتے ہیں عادات. آیال فکر میں ہوں گے کہ رہ گئے کس جا، آیال فکر میں ہوں گے کہ رہ گئے کس جا، غضب ہے پھر جو غریبوں کے دل کو کل نہ پڑے، تلاش میں کوئی بی بی کہیں نکل نہ پڑے، تلاش میں کوئی بی بی کہیں نکل نہ پڑے۔ یہ سن کے آہ بھری اور کہا بدیدہ تر، نہ بیٹھتے تیرے در پر کہیں جو ہوتا گھر، نہ بیٹھتے تیرے در پر کہیں جو ہوتا گھر، کہاں عیال جنہیں فکر ہوگی اے خواہر، یہاں بہن ہے نہ بھائی نہ زوجہ و دختر، یہاں بہن ہے نہ بھائی نہ زوجہ و دختر، نہ جانے وہ بھی یوں ہی غم میں ہے کہ چین سے ہے، حسین ہم سے جدا ہم جدا حسین سے ہیں، حسین ہم سے جدا ہم جدا حسین سے ہیں۔ یہ نام سن کے پکاری وہ عاشق زہرا، حسین آپ کے کیا ہیں کہا میرے مولا، وہ بولی نام ان سب کچھ بتائیے للہ، کہا کہ مرد غریب الوطن کا نام ہی کیا، کہا کہ مرد غریب الوطن کا نام ہی کیا، وطن وہی ہے جہاں اہل بیت رہتے ہیں، مجھے حسین کا ادنا غلام کہتے ہیں، مجھے حسین کا ادنا غلام کہتے ہیں۔ یہ سن کے اس نے تڑپ کر کہا بشدت غم، یہ خاک سار بھی ہے ایک کنی سے شاہ امم، چھپاؤ مجھ سے نہ للہ حال درد و الم، بتا دو نام تمہیں جان فاطمہ کی قسم، بتا دو نام تمہیں جان فاطمہ کی قسم، کہا حرم سے جو چھوٹا وہ بے نصیب ہوں میں، وکیل سبت نبی مسلم غریب ہوں میں، وکیل سبت نبی مسلم غریب ہوں میں، کہا حرم سے جو چھوٹا وہ بے نصیب ہوں میں، وکیل سبت نبی مسلم غریب ہوں میں، وکیل سبت نبی مسلم غریب ہوں میں، وطن سے چھٹ کے کوئی خستہ جہاں شہید نہ ہو، بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔
Please recite one more salawat. Humma sal wa alim. Quick announcement about Salat Eid. Tomorrow we will start 7:30 a.m. inshallah with Dua Nudba and with Salat at 8:10 sharp. And then for future events we will have Wiladat Imam Ali Naqi alayhi salam on Monday, June 1st. And we will have our Ghadir, Eid Ghadir event on June 4th on Thursday. May I request Surah Fatiha for all of your marumeens. Please recite one Surah Fatiha, 3 times Surah Ikhlas. Now I would like to request Maulana Syed Jarry Haider to please address today's majlis. Please have a loud salawat.
Can I request everybody to inshallah recite one Surah Al-Mubarakatul Fatiha. Bismillah. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الغر والميامين ولعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم عداوتهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال سيدنا ومولانا الإمام الباقر عليه الصلاة والسلام: والله إني أحب ريحكم وأرواحكم. صدق مولانا أبو جعفر عليه الصلاة والسلام. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dearest brothers and sisters, أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم. On this day, we would like to send our condolences to every believer, and especially to the Imam of our time, on this date that is usually the date for Hajj, the first thing that you do. You know, so instrumental, it's so monumental day that the day of Arafah is the day of Hajj, aslan, right? And that's why, like, there are so many rawayas that we have that says that anybody who is able to witness the day of Arafah, and then a Haji, somebody who goes for Hajj for the whole pilgrimage, and if he's able to witness the day of Arafah, and then he doubts that his sins are not forgiven, then, you know, like Amma alayhi salam have not appreciated that thought, right? So the day of Arafah, when you are in the plains of Arafat, that day is a very significant day, right? That is the start of what you call the Hajj, right? And then you go to Muzdalifah, then from Muzdalifah, then the tent of Dhul Hajj, where you have to do 3 or 4 things. But it seems 3 or 4 things, but they're very long, right? You have to make a walk from all the way from Muzdalifah. You do Rami. After Rami, you go back. Then you wait for the Qurbani to happen. And as soon as the sacrifices happen, the slaughtering happens, and then you're able to, you know, shave your head or, you know, depending upon the fatwa of the Maraja. But my point here is what? The 9th is the day when you're actually starting the Hajj, right? And that is the time from Dhuhr and all the way till the Maghrib. That is the time that you are in the plains of Arafat. And that is the time you're reciting. And I hope, like, I wasn't so lucky to recite all those du'as and those supplications, right? But that is the time usually when you are reflecting upon the dua of Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Hussein. Then you have a beautiful dua that you have in Sahif al-Kamila that is on specifically for this day. Then you have a dua from Imam al-Sadiq. You know, alhamdulillah, you know, you can't thank Allah Almighty enough for the blessings that He has bestowed upon us by giving us these divine personalities, these infallible personalities that are in front of you, that have given you so many supplications, that have given you so many du'as, right? It's not only about the recitation of the dua, it's also about the reflection of the dua, right? Every time you're reflecting, every time you're reciting the dua, and you know, some of the points and some of the things that come in that really touch your heart, right? And imagine that was the day, night of Dhul Hajj. That should be, quote unquote, the day as a day of Eid for the Muslims, right? And it is the day of Eid for Muslims, right? The 10th of Dhul Hajj, right? But 9th is the day when you're actually starting your Hajj, right? That is the day when you are in the tents of Arafat and whatnot, right? And that is the day of supplication and ibadat for the people that are not in Hijaz or that are not there in Mecca or Medina, right? But even then, right, you see what people have done. The day was made as a day of mourning because Muslim ibn Aqil, and sometimes we just say it Muslim ibn Aqil, but it was also Hani bin Urwah, rahmatullahi alayhi, wa radwanullahi alayhi. You know, when we go to Masjid al-Kufa, now Masjid al-Kufa is usually you take a taxi, you come there to Masjid al-Kufa. And Masjid al-Kufa, you start your journey from Mitham al-Tammar, right? The shrine of Mitham Tammar, you enter that gate. You depend, like, whenever time I have gone, I start my journey, somehow the taxi end up leaving there, like, so this is where we start our journey, Mitham Tammar. All those Josh and Walwala is there, all that zeal and enthusiasm is there. Why? Because you're going to meet Mitham Tammar, the personality that you have heard for your whole life, the way he has sacrificed his life, proclaiming the merits and the virtues of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, right? Mitham is a role model, right, for all of us, right? Somebody who used to sell dates. Ali ibn Abi Talib did not used to look about the social status, like, or the financial status of a person, and he would sit with a certain person because he belonged to this class or that class. He used to vouch and he used to see the love that the personality would have for Allah Almighty, for his blessed messenger, and for the family of the blessed messenger, right? That was the mi'yar, that was the ma'bar, that was the yardstick that Ali ibn Abi Talib would have when he would sit with people, right? Mitham Tammar, amazing personality, right? Mitham Tammar that give his life. And you start your journey. All the Josh is there. Now you start walking, Now it's slowly decreasing till you reach to the Baytul Ali, the Bayt of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen. You go to different hujarat, you go to different rooms. Now this is the room for this is the room for that, and you're doing the ziyarah of everything, right? And you're imagining how they used to live, how beautiful that environment would be when Imam al-Hassan would sit here, when Imam al-Hussein would sit here, Ali ibn Abi Talib would be in the center of the house, and he would sometimes, discuss certain things with Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein, Abbas, Zainab, Kulthum. Beautiful feeling, as if you're there 1400 years back, 1300 years back, and you're living in midst of Amir al-Mu'mineen, right? That feeling is very, very, instrumental, and that feeling is there within your heart that actually connects you to the infallibles, right? As soon as you're done with the journey there, then you enter the Grand Mosque, Jami Masjid al-Kufa, right? As soon as you enter to Masjid al-Kufa, right, the first thing, mashallah, you're coming from Bab al-Thuban, whatever Bab you're coming in, Bab al-Fil, Bab al-Thuban, whatever. And as soon as you enter there, mashallah, amal after amal, And if you're going there in the heat, Allah Hafiz, when you're going in the heat, right in the heat of the sun, right? And imagine if it's 50 Celsius, 45 Celsius, 40 Celsius. It's not so easy to do amal. 2 rakat namaz here, 2 rakat namaz. Sometimes it happens. Now I'm coming to the muqaddamah. Why I'm coming to the muqaddamah? Because I want to give a reasoning. I want to give a natija that is very important. I want to give a conclusion that is very important for us to understand. You start with your amal. As soon as you start with your amal, mashallah, 2 rakat salah here, 4 rakat here, 2 rakat here, 4 rakat here. And as you're reciting, somehow there's always a lady praying in front of you, mashallah. Then you have to wait till the lady is done, because Sistani says you need to have at least 10 hands worth of distance between a man and a woman, and mashallah you're just waiting. Allah kare jaldi se khatam ho taaki main namaz shuru karu, like that. That is the thing that is going around. The only exception is where? The only exception is Masjid al-Haram in Makkah. There is no other exception. There is no other exception, right? You may be in Karbala, you may be in Masjid al-Kufa, wherever you are. That's a basic problem that comes in, right? You're waiting for this lady to be ending, this lady to be ending, and by the time you're done with your amal, you are so exhausted that you're just, you're just like, oh my God, I cannot do it further. Then you go to the Qatalga, or the place where Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam was struck, right at Mihrab, at Masjid al-Kufa. And when you're done there, you're losing your breath there, right? And then finally you end up going to Muslim ibn Aqil. As you go to Muslim ibn Aqil, you're just like, Yallah, what's the ziyarah? Assalamu alayka ayyuhal abd as-salih. That ziyarah does not have that enthusiasm, that does not have that intention that you need to have. You do the ziyarah of Mukhtar, as soon as you're done, most of the people, they would walk away. They don't know there is another grave there is there. As soon as you walk few feet away, as you walk 2 or 3 minutes away, there is the ziyarah of Hani bin Urwa rahmatullahi alayh. Hani, Majhulul Qadr. You don't know much about Hani, but Hani is Hani. Hani is somebody who has given his life within the Shuhada. If you want to understand the Shuhada of Karbala, it did not start as in Karbala. The first one to give his blood for the sake of Imam al-Hussein was the ambassador of Imam al-Hussein when he went to Basra. And I'm not sure how many of you have gone through that history, right? Imam alayhi salatu wasalam wrote 5 letters to 5 big people, quote unquote, of Basra, Ziyad bin Munzir, Ahnaf bin Qais, all of these personalities. And the ambassador of Imam al-Hussein who was taking the letter with him, his name was Sulaiman bin Razin, rahmatullahi alayhi, wa radwanullahi alayhi. How much we have studied about Sulaiman, how much we know about it. First martyr of Karbala, Sulaiman bin Razin. He comes all the way to Basra, he hands down the letter to the five, and mashallah, one of the Buzurg come in and he hands Sulaiman bin Razin to Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, la'natullahi alayhima, la'na upon Ubaidullah and his father Ziyad. He hands it to Ubaidullah bin Ziyad. Yallah, he brought the letter of Imam al-Hussein. And you know, I'm so loyal to you, my Maulana, I'm so loyal to you, my ruler, I'm so loyal to you, Badshah Salamat. मैं इसको आपके पास लेकर आया. I have brought him, the ambassador of Imam al-Hussein, to you. And you know what Ibn Ziyad would do? Ibn Ziyad would do whatever he's famous for doing it. He slaughtered, he killed, and he executed that person in Basra. He was the first martyr of Karbala. Second one to be martyred, Abdullah bin Yaqtur, rahmatullahi alayhi. Abdullah bin Yaqtur, Imam al-Hussein. Now, that's not my traditional khitabat, but I want to go through the history a little bit. So all these personalities that are the muqaddimah of Karbala, we also need to remember those muqaddimah of Karbala too. We also need to remember those introduction of Karbala too. We also want to remember those martyrs of Karbala that were not there in Karbala, but they have given everything what they can for the sake of Imam al-Hussein. Abdullah bin Yaqtur, rahmatullahi alayhi. The second one to be martyr. Again the ambassador, again the messenger of Imam al-Hussein. As he was walking, he was arrested at a place that's called Qadisiyah. If you remember the Iran-Iraq war, Saddam Maloon used to say what? Ma'arakatul Qadisiyah. Right? If you know the history a little bit, right? And for a reason he used to say Ma'arakatul Qadisiyah, because that was the time when Umar ibn al-Khattab, he dispatched certain people, he dispatched a lot of people, and Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas was the one that was leading the Muslim army, and they defeated Persian at Qadisiyah. That was a very symbolic term he used to use. But Qadisiyah was the junction point, was the point where the Iraq would be connected with Hijaz. Iraq would be connected with Hijaz. You're coming from Mecca, it's not the first thing that you would walk and Iraq is going to be right next to you. Iraq was used to be called as Iraqan, two places, right? It's called Bilad al-Rafidain, two of the rivers, River Euphrates and the Dajjala, both are going through parallel till they meet right at the shores of Basra, right? So Basra is a place, Kufa is a place, right? That's why it's used to call Iraqan, two most important places, right? So they would come to the border place that was connecting Iraq with Hijaz is called Qadisiyah. Now, Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, la'natullah alayhi wa alayhima, when he came and when he became the ruler, now how he became the ruler of Basra and Kufa is a story too. When Muslim came in, Muslim, I'm going to inshallah narrate who Muslim is. Muslim alayhi salatu wasalam, he started his journey from Mecca, not from Medina. From Mecca, he started his journey from Mecca. He came all the way to Kufa. He started his journey in the month of Ramadan. Syed al-Shuhada Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, he left Medina on 28 or the night of 28 of Rajab, right? That's a famous date in which we commemorate Sayyid al-Shuhda leaving Medina all the way for Karbala. But he did not go Karbala instantaneously. He went to Makkah first and he was there for 5. Within 5 days, the 3rd of Sha'ban, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam was there in Makkah. And he was reciting the verse the way Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was reciting as he was going all the way to Makkah. When he reached Makkah, he was there for a few months. Sha'ban he was there. Ramadan he was there. Shawwal he was there. Dhul Qa'dah he was there. And he started his journey on 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Yesterday. He started his journey 8th of Dhul Hijjah. All the way from Makkah, not intending for Karbala initially, intending for Kufa. Right? Little bit of history. थोड़ी सी तारीखी मजलिस है, सूखी मजलिस है, बर्दाश्त कर लीजिए. He started his journey, right? He dispatched Muslim ibn Aqil. Muslim, he started his journey in month of Ramadan and he reached all the way to Kufa in Shawwal. When he reached in Shawwal, who was the ruler? It wasn't Ubaidullah bin Ziyad. It was Nu'man bin Bashir. Nu'man bin Bashir was the one who was ruling. Now Nu'man bin Bashir, He was the one that was against Amir al-Mu'mineen, Battle of Siffin. And he was supporting Muawiyah. La'natullah alayhi. Muawiyah, he was supporting Nu'man bin Bashir. His father Bashir. Little bit introduction about Bashir. MashaAllah, everyone radiyallah. You know, everybody companion. Bashir was the one. When they came to Saqifa they came in. The first person was confused completely. He did not even know he's going to get the caliphate. He had two options in his mind. He had Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah and he had Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar ibn al-Khattab, Abu Ubaidah. But Umar being a very smart guy, he said, why would I be the first one to take the burning? Why would I be the first one to take the burden? Let it be anybody else take it, and I would be the person who would run from the behind. Right? Because nobody wanted to face Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, right? So he said that no, you are Thani ul-Ithnain, you are Siddiq and this, that, you are going to be the caliph. He was the caliph. And at that moment when they reached Saqifa, Sa'ad bin Ubadah was already there. Sa'ad bin Ubadah, right, was from the tribe of Khazraj. Understand the politics. Two tribes of Medina. They were not ruhama bainahum, unfortunately. You know, ruhama bainahum, they did not have that much love. Sometimes they would have a lot of love, but a lot of times they do not have a lot of love, right? All the politics goes around, right? And it's still we're with that politics, right? This is white, this is brown, this is Arab, this is non-Arab, this is Persian, this is Pakistani, this is Indian. We are Ali ibn Abi Talib, followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib, right? That's what matters to me, right? But unfortunately, that's not the case most of the time. Sa'ad bin Ubadah says, you know, we're going to be the rulers. Why we're going to be the rulers? Because we were the one that Prophet entrusted his trust with when he immigrated to Medina. We were the one that supported Prophet. Battle of Badr, Ansar were the one. Battle of Uhud, Ansar were the one. Battle of Ahzab, Ansar were the one. They were fighting against the Quraysh. They were fighting against the Meccans. Meccans, the people of Mecca, they accepted Islam. At Fath Makkah, most of them, they accepted Islam. But they accepted Islam, and that's why Prophet ﷺ, you are the one that are freed one today. You did not deserve to be free, but this is the rahmah of rahmatul lil alameen that you're free today, right? And that is the same action that Ali ibn Abi Talib did when he went all the way to Basra. That's a topic for another day. But what happened? Sa'ad bin Ubadah said, we're going to be the rulers, right? At that moment, Ansar were one people. They were supporting each other. If they would have supported each other only, for the only reason of tribal affinity, things would have been very different. But he was from which tribe? He was from Khazraj. And you had Asid bin Hudayr and this Bashir guy, right? They were from a different tribe. They were from ours. They said, if Sa'ad bin Ubadah is going to be the ruler, he's going to rule upon us for his life, and his progeny is going to rule upon us for his life. तो वो क्या करते हैं? They go to Abu Bakr, the first person, and they, oh, mashallah, you're a Khalifa of Allah now. The first one to give the bay'ah, Abdul Rahman bin Auf, Umar bin Khattab, Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah, Asid bin Hudayr, Bashir. That is Nu'man bin Bashir. So Nu'man, he did not want a confrontation when Muslim migrated there, right? When Muslim came in there. Muslim was the ambassador of Imam al-Hussein. Now when he came in, Nu'man, you know, he wanted a policy, you don't attack me, I don't attack you. You know, we're going to have mutual ceasefire, undeclared ceasefire, you don't do anything against me. But he wanted to act tough a little bit. Now when people, Umar ibn Sa'ad wrote a letter, Muslim al-Bahili wrote a letter, these are all the followers of Bani Umayyah that are right in the heart of Kufa. Now people say Kufans were Shia, Kufans were never Shia. Kufans were as if you're living in Toronto, right? When you go to Toronto, right? You have people, you have Sikhs there, you have Hindus there, you have Muslims there, you have Christians, you have atheists, you have from the South Asian background, from Arab background. It was a metropolitan city, people from different culture, people from different thoughts, people of different sect, people of different color, people of different thinking, all of them were there in Kufa. Yes, indeed. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib ruled Kufa, but Kufa was never the follower of Ali ibn Abi Talib in the sense that they would believe that Ali was the infallible Imam. They would believe the way the other three were selected, Ali was the fourth that was selected. Do Do you get my point? So that was the Kufa city, right? Now within Kufa you had the Shias too. You had the Rafidha too. You have the followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib too. People like Habib ibn Mudahir al-Asadi. People like Muslim ibn Awsaja. People like Sa'id bin Abdullah al-Hanfi. People like Abis bin Abi Shabib al-Shakri. You have the likes of these people that were the true followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Right? And then you had some political people too. Political people, what do I mean by them? Musayyib bin Najaba, Rafa' bin Shaddad, the companion, Sulaiman bin Surat. Now he was somebody, like could have done a little bit more. That's why he was called as what? Tawwabun, the people that went in and they, asked Allah Almighty sincerely for the forgiveness of whatever they were not able to do. So Sulaiman, Habib, Musayyib bin Najaba, Rafa' bin Shaddad, all of these, they wrote letters to Sayyid al-Shuhada. Sayyid al-Shuhada started his journey from Medina all the way to Mecca before. Then the letters came later. Sayyid al-Shuhada did not go because the people of Kufa started writing the letters. He went to Mecca, he started his qiyam, he started his journey, he started his nihdat, he started his tahriq, whatever you want to say, even before the letters started coming in. You want to follow my point? Letters came in, letters came in, letters came in. 12,000, 18,000. 18,000, you have different numbers. 12 to 18,000 letters came in. Sayyid al-Shuhada did not believe in those letters unless or until he did not dispatch Muslim ibn Aqil. अब एक जुमला दे रहा हूँ, उर्दू में दे पाऊंगा. कूफा शहर है 1,00,000 लोगों का, उससे भी ज़्यादा लोगों का. सैयद al-Shuhada मुस्लिम की हैसियत बता रहे हैं. 1,00,000 की गवाही एक जगह है, मुस्लिम की गवाही एक जगह है. Don't you understand the power of who was Muslim ibn Aqil? Or should I say this way? Safirullah is Hussein ibn Ali, and Safirul Hussein is Muslim ibn Aqil. Right? What a beautiful way of understanding who Muslim was. And this is where you need to understand the magnanimity of who Muslim ibn Aqil is. This is all happening where I left my journey. Qadisiyya, I was trying to explain you Qadisiyya. Kya karun? My sincerest apologies. By Allah, lillah, wallah, tallah, I had a different majlis that I prepared for today. But it's a completely different topic that I'm presenting in front of you. So I can just let you know a little bit about the history of the people that are generally not discussed on the manabir that much, right? Abdullah bin Yakhtar, rahmatullahi alayhi. He was arrested from where? He was arrested from Qadisiyya. Qadisiyya, nakabandi ho gayi thi. They were, the people were not allowed. The people from Kufa, they were not allowed to go outside. And the outside were not allowed to come inside Kufa. So they had that, like the border towns, or they had those places where they had the military presence where they would not allow anybody to come in. Abdullah bin Yakhtar, rahmatullahi alayhi, he was arrested from where? All the way from Qadisiyya. Another companion of Sayyid al-Shuhada, he was again taking the letter with him. His name is Qais bin Musahir as-Saydawi. Remember the name? Qais as-Saydawi, right? Another companion. Both of them, they were killed for one sole reason, that they were the ambassador and the messenger of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. And you have this incident of Abdullah bin Yakhtar rahmatullahi alayhi. He was said, go on the minbar. وَإِلْعَنْ كَذَّابِ ibn Kadhab. Who's this? Who's saying this? Ubaidullah bin Ziyad. Now let me go back to history. Now inshallah I'm going to come back to this incident. Nu'man bin Bashir was the one that was ruling. All these Bani Umayyah, the followers of Bani Umayyah, they started writing letters to who? To Yazid. Yazid, as he was sitting in, he had his personal advisor. He did not like him that much. And he was also having beef against who? Ubaidullah bin Ziyad. Now, if you go to the history of Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, my dear brothers and sisters, kya karun, thoda sa batana pada. Ubaidullah, what a beautiful name. Servant of Allah, a very humble servant of Allah. That's what Ubaidullah means literally, right? Abdullah is servant. Ubaidullah means a sincere servant. Somebody who is nothing. Na cheez bolte na, na cheez ahkar. Nothing in front of the majesty of Allah Almighty. Ubaidullah. His father was who? Ziyad. Ziyad bin Abi. What a beautiful title. Ziyad jo apne baap ka beta tha. Ziyad bin Abi. Ziyad, the son of his father. That is the first time I have ever heard about somebody like this. I am son of my father. Everybody is son of his father, right? But why he was called as Ziyad bin Abi? The member is not the right place to explain all these details, right? You can go and Google it out by yourself, right? But there were four claimants, four people claiming to be his father when he was born. And he was initially used to be associated with whom? With Ubayd. Ubayd was a servant, right? Ubayd and his mother was Sumayya. Sumayya, there's one good Sumayya, and that is the mother of Ammar ibn Yasir. And there's one bad Sumayya, which is the mother of Ziyad, right? Ziyad bin Abi, or Ziyad bin Ubayd. Politically, around 43 Hijrah, Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan. Now, Ziyad was one of the people that Amir al-Mu'mineen initially entrusted him with certain responsibilities in Basra. Abdullah bin Abbas was the ruler in Basra, was the governor of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ubaidullah bin Abbas was the ruler and the governor in Yemen. Suhail bin Hunayf in Sham, Mawla wanted to dispatch him. Uthman bin Hunayf in Basra. All of these people, some were good people, some were not too good people. Abdullah bin Abbas was the one that was ruling. So he gave certain responsibilities. Now my aqidah, my nadariya is what? It wasn't Amir al-Mu'mineen. It was Abdullah bin Abbas in his own personal capacity. He gave certain responsibilities to Ziyad bin Abi. Now Ziyad bin Abi was the person who was ruling, and he, not ruling, but he has certain responsibility. And he knew the Shias of Ali ibn Abi Talib entirely. Basra, Kufa, he knew who were the Shias of Ali ibn Abi Talib. 43 Hijrah, or 44 Hijrah, go to Tariq al-Tabari, go to any Tariq, go to any Ibn Khaldun, Ibn Kathir, go to any Tariq you want. And you see how, unfortunately, how Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan made Ziyad bin Abi, who was a product of adultery, who was, unfortunately, you cannot call anyone as your brother, agar wo halal zada na ho. Aisa hi hota hai. Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, he claimed that Ziyad is his brother from Abu Sufyan. And then, for the political alliances, when the political alliance happened, when the political thoughts came into one process, Ziyad was made the ruler in Kufa. And Ziyad was responsible for killing so many people that he killed. Hujr bin Adi rahmatullahi alayhi. Hujr. Beautiful personality. You go to Sham even today. Right? Ghutha. Ghutha is a suburb. You go there. Maraj al-Udhra, Maraj al-Udhra. Hujr bin Adi, rahmatullahi alayhi. He was martyred. Ziyad was the one that dispatched. Ziyad was the one that killed so many Shias of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Shias that were part and parcel of the society of the Kufa. Nearly all of them were killed by Ziyad and Mughira bin Shu'bah. None were left. None were left. And that is the reason. When Muslim is having conversation with Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, Ubaidullah said, you are here so that you can create rift and division between the people here. What did Muslim reply? Muslim replied, it was your father that was responsible for killing so many righteous and pious people of Kufa. So many of them. And that is why you go through the history. Kambar, not necessarily they were not killed during that time, but after that too. Kambar was killed by Bani Umayyah. Sa'id bin Jubair, killed by Bani Umayyah. Kumail bin Ziyad, killed by Bani Umayyah. Rushayd al-Hajari, killed by Bani Umayyah. Mitham al-Tammar, just a few days before Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam was about to come to Kufa, he was slaughtered by Ibn Ziyad in Kufa. Hujr bin Adi. There's so many names. Abdul Rahman bin Hassan al-Unzi. So many of them were killed by whom? By these Umayyads, the Shias of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Their khun was halal, was made completely permissible for these people. But let's get back to history again. So Sarjun al-Rumi, la'natullahi alayhi, another la'natullah. Sarjun al-Rumi said, if you want to, you don't like me that much, but I'm going to give you an advice that your father would have loved if he was here. And that advice is what? That if you are able to have control over both Kufan, which is Basra and Kufa, make sure that you dispatch Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad all the way from Basra to Kufa. Now Ubaidullah, he ran as soon as he got the letter. Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Hussein is coming. Before Hussein comes to Kufa, make sure you go to Kufa and make sure you are the one that is the ruler and the governor there. Ubaidullah running. The people that were with him, they were not able to keep the pace as Ubaidullah was going, as the Ibn Ziyad was going with so much pace. As soon as he came in, he had that naqab, he had the kapra in front of him, he had that, he did not expose his face as he was coming in, and he come right at the heart of midnight. He came and he entered into Kufa. And everybody watching Kufa. Marhaba bika ya ibn Rasulillah. Marhaba bika ya ibn Rasulillah. They thought that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam entered into Kufa. And Ubaidullah, being a very sharp politician, he did not expose his identity till he reached to the doors of Darul Amara, till he reached to the doors of the courtyard. And he knocked the door. Norman said, "Who's this?" He said, "I am Ubaidullah bin Ziyad and I'm the ruler here." Wallahi Lazim, the Rawaya says, as soon as people heard that it is Ubaidullah bin Ziyad who is there in Kufa, it is as if they did not had even one single word to utter, because they got into fear and intimidation, and they remembered how ruthless and how zalim and a persecutor he is, what he did in Basra and what he's going to do right now here. That's what happened. Muslim ibn Aqil. And then all the story happened. Muslim ibn Aqil very secretly taking the pledge of allegiance. Taking pledge of allegiance from everybody. You give the pledge of allegiance. You wrote the letter. Give me the bay'ah. Give me the bay'ah. Give me the bay'ah. And once he had that itminan, 12,000 people, 18,000 people, they give their pledge of allegiance. They give their bay'ah to Muslim ibn Aqil. When the itminan happened, he wrote a letter to Sayyid al-Shuhada. You can come to Kufa now. Because I have that itminan. There are so many people that are going to support you. But my dear brothers and sisters, there's one thing proclaiming your support, and there is the second thing of actually supporting when it matters. It's so easy. I'm here at the mimbar, mashallah. I'm going to get nadar and niyaz. I'm going to get those croissant, chai and everything. Life is so beautiful. Calling the name of Hussein is so easy right now, isn't it? Calling the name of Ali is so easy. Calling the name of Ahlul Bayt is so easy. As if everything is easy. But Sayyid al-Shuhada said, there are so many religious people there are. But when the trials and the tribulations would arrive, only few people would be left that are truly, truly religious. That's what happened. Muslim ibn Aqil, Hani bin Urwah, rahmatullahi alayhi, he was captured. He was captured. Hani was somebody who was from the political class of Kufa. As if he would walk in, the Rawaya would say thousands of people would walk behind him, would walk in front of him, would walk on the right, would walk on the left. As if a big ruler is coming in, as if a big person of so much charisma is coming in. But when it mattered, they did not support Hani. Hani was being captured. And there was a jasus. You know, you feel the undercover operations are going only right now. It's going since the time of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, since the beginning of the humanity. There was an undercover operator from the mukhabirat, from the secret agencies who was working. And his name was Aqil. He's known as Aqil al-Jasus. Search it. Aqil, the secret operator. Search about him. You know, he came into the ranks. You know, the reason he was able to recognize Muslim ibn Awsaja, rahmatullahi alayhi, was the treasurer. Every Husseini has a treasurer. The treasurer for the Tahriq of Sayyid al-Shuhada was Muslim ibn Awsaja, somebody who was managing the finances. Now Ma'aqal came in, and Ma'aqal, being a person, he did not know who the Shias are, what's going to work, because he was originally from Sham. As he came to Masjid al-Kufa, he said, the only reason I was able to recognize who is Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib and who is not, when I would look somebody who is worshipping and venerating Allah Almighty with so much sincerity, as if there is no second to that person, I understood ye kuch nahi ho sakta, but he would be a Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So the riwayah says, Muslim ibn Awsajah was reciting, was praying, was venerating, was worshipping, was bowing, was prostrating. And Maqil understood he would be a Shaykh Ali ibn Abi Talib. He came in. You know, I am Ali, I'm the follower of Ali. Muslim ibn Awsajah, of course. You have to go through the Zahir. He would investigate a little bit, but you have to go through the Zahir at the end of the day. The Batin, your Imam knows your Batin. Allah knows your Batin. Allah knows what's inside of you. You know that we have this beautiful saying of Imam Zain al-Abidin that says, Inna عرفنا الرجل إذا رأيناه بحقيقة الإيمان وبحقيقة النفاق. We the people from Ahlul Bayt, when we look towards a person, we know he is a genuine follower or we know he is a genuine disbeliever or hypocrite. Right? That is only for Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. But for the other people, right, they're going to go through the Zahir. Maqil came in. Maqil understood what is happening. He went into the system. All the secret operations, whatever was coming in. Hani was being called in the courtyard. Hani, what's happened? You're not coming to meet me? Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, Hani, I'm weak now, you know, I'm very old. I'm sorry if you feeling like this, but I can't, unfortunately. Are you hiding Muslim ibn Aqil? Muslim ibn Aqil? What do you mean? You hiding Muslim ibn Aqil? What do you mean? Then that Maqil al-Jasus came in. Here is my proof. Come, yallah, come here. Hani said at that moment, even if I would have Muslim underneath me, by Allah, I will not raise my feet up so I can handle Muslim ibn Aqil to you. That is the Iman, that is the Shahama, that is the Batal. Hani bin Urwah, rahmatullah. And that is the reason, my brothers, where the discussion started. When you go to Kufa, make sure you go for the ziyarah of Hani bin Urwah. Make sure you do the proper ziyarah of Muslim ibn Aqil. Proper ziyarah. Assalamu alaikum, ayyuhal abdul salih. The same way you would address Abul Fadl Abbas, the same way you would address Muslim ibn Aqil. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, ayyuhal abdul salih. Assalamu alaikum, ayyuhal muti'u lillahi wa rasulih. And all these wordings that you have. As if you put the ziyarah of Abul Fadl Abbas on your right side, and you put the ziyarah of Muslim ibn Aqil the left side, as if they are copy-pasted from one another. That is the way the ziyarah of Abul Fadl Abbas and Muslim ibn Aqil is. So, proximity to each other. And that is why even as of today, when you go to Iraq, and people from Iraq can attest to the thing that I'm saying here, there are 4 Babul Hawa'ij in Iraq. We know about 3, but we don't know about the 4 that much. You know, 1, the 6-month-old baby, Babul Hawa'ij. 6-month-old baby, ذُبِحَ الطفل مِنَ الْأُذُنِ إِلَى الْأُذُنِ. Second one, Musa bin Ja'far, Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam. The third one, Abul Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salatu wassalam. We know about the 3. The 4th one is Muslim ibn Aqil. Brothers and sisters, I've heard the scholars. I'm not too sure if it's coming from Ahlul Bayt or not. So my disclaimer here, right? But I've heard the scholars. I've heard the authentic scholars. If you have any hajat, especially if you're not having a kid, if you're not having a boy, and if you're really craving and longing to have a boy or to have a kid, you ask Allah Almighty by the intercession of Muslim ibn Aqil, with this hajat in your mind that, oh Allah, if you're going to grant me a boy, I am going to name him as Muslim. Inshallah, Allah is going to fulfill your hajat. Allah is going to look after your desire. Allah is going to look after your supplication, inshallah. Muslim ibn Aqil, Babul Hawa'ij. And that is the reason, my dear brother and sister, everybody who's going to go to Iraq in Ashura, in Arba'in or any other time, make sure this time when you're going to ziyarah, you take all the time in your world to go to Masjid al-Kufa. You know, because we want to do Masjid al-Sahla, Masjid al-Kufa together. My dear brother and sister, you can do it together. But you need muscles like the Jawan muscles. You need like muscles like us, right? That can go there, that can go here, that can go here, that can go there, right? But even us, we don't have that much stamina to do so many amal that we're supposed to do. So my advice to you is to go one day to Masjid al-Kufa, give 6,000, 12,000, 18,000, whatever the Iraqi currency is. $18, $20, $25, $30 more. Take a taxi one more time. Come to Masjid al-Sahla separately. And as you come to Masjid al-Sahla, Masjid al-Kufa, make sure you visit Masjid Zayd bin Sawhan, Masjid Sa'asa bin Sawhan, and Mafatih al-Janan. You have all the amal for these places, right? You take time to go to Kumail bin Ziyad. You take the time to go Maitham. You take the time to go to these places. Because you go there once. You go take the time to go to Zayd al-Shayd. You go do whatever you want to do. But make sure you do the ziyarah of Muslim and Hani the way it should be done. At least 15, 20 minutes, right? Reflecting upon his personality. Reflecting who Hani was. I explained Hani very briefly, right? Go and search who Hani was. Because today we're not only commemorating the martyrdom anniversary of Muslim ibn Aqil, we are also commemorating the martyrdom anniversary of Hani bin Urwah. Rahmatullahi alayhi. Muslim, somebody, when he's roaming around the streets of Kufa, we all know Muslim, when he started his Salatul Maghrib, there were a bunch of people that were praying behind him. And by the time he started or he was done with Salatul Isha, there was barely anybody who was with Muslim ibn Aqil. As if when you were reciting the ziyarah and when you're reciting Assalamu alayka ya gharib al-ghuraba, oh, the one who was the stranger of the strangers, oh Husayn ibn Ali, accept my salams and salutations. You do the same ziyarah for Imam Rada alayhi salatu wassalam. As if you want to see gharib al-ghuraba in somebody who is not infallible in the sense. You can see who Muslim ibn Aqil. Excuse my wording, so I don't have the better wording, right? But Ma'asum is Ma'asum the 14th, right? But if you want to see anybody outside the 14 who is gharib al-ghuraba in its true sense, you can see who Muslim ibn Aqil was. Muslim, when fighting, he went into the streets, roaming around the streets. And he ended up being at the front of a house where there was a lady, his name was Taw'a. She was sitting right at the front of her house as Muslim was sitting in. She said, oh, the stranger, what is the matter with you? What is the problem? Muslim said, I'm really thirsty. Is it a possibility I can get a cup of water? Can get a glass of water? Now I came in with the water, said, Ya gharib rahimakallah, ishrab. Drink the water. Muslim, he drank the water. Again, she went back. Now she came back again. Muslim again, sitting where he was sitting. Oh, gharib. He does not know, she does not know he's Muslim. What is the matter with you? You're not going to your house. Don't you know what is happening in Kufa? मालूम नहीं कूफे के हालात क्या हो गए हैं. Muslim said, where should I go? वो कहाँ जाए जिसका कोई घर कूफे में ना हो? There's no place, there's no refuge, there's no shelter place that I have right now where I'm supposed to go. So I said, introduce yourself, who are you? I am Muslim ibn Aqil, the ambassador, the Safiya of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salatu wassalam. She being a believer, she being a mu'mina, she being the mawaliya, she being the lover of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. You Muslim ibn Aqil. You know, she welcomed Muslim ibn Aqil to her house. And when her son came in at the night, she asked, where were you throughout the day? Oh, I'm searching for Muslim ibn Aqil. Hope I can find Muslim ibn Aqil. You know, like she wanted to give some advices, you know, don't do this, don't do that. Muslim ibn Aqil from the family of the Prophet. Why do you want to go and search for him, right? But he figured out that Muslim ibn Aqil is somewhere hiding in his home. He did not disclose the fact. He went next day to the courtyard of Ubaidullah, informed Ibn Ziyad about it, and said, Muslim ibn Aqil is in my house. Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad dispatched Muslim Muhammad bin Ash'ath, la'natullahi alayhima. Muhammad bin Ash'ath with around 1,000 people. So many people were being dispatched. They all went in to attack and assault Muslim ibn Aqil, but Muslim being from Banu Hashim. हाशमी शुजाअत जौहर दिखाती है. ज़दार और रिवायत के जुमले ये हैं. मुस्लिम जब पटखते थे पहलवानों को तो छतों पे जाके पहलवान गिरा करते थे. All the way they will end up going on to the rooftop of the houses. This was the way. Muslim ibn Aqil was fighting Shahadat of Hazrat, as if like people did not have the control. Muhammad bin Ashas wrote a letter again, send a dispatcher. Go to Ibn Ziyad, ask him to send more and more army. What is happening with you? I send you with 1,000 people. You haven't sent me into a vegetable seller. You haven't sent me to a Baqqal of Kufa. You have sent me to fight against the battle of Banu Hashim. Muslim ibn Aqil, more and more armies were being dispatched, and finally Muslim ibn Aqil, he fell into a pit. He fell into a hole as soon as he fell into a hole. Azadaro jante hain uske baad kya hua hai? They all attacked Muslim ibn Aqil from all four places. Somebody was striking Muslim ibn Aqil with the sword, somebody was striking with the arrow, somebody was striking with the spear, somebody was putting the khaq and mud upon Muslim ibn Aqil. उसी हालत में मुस्लिम को लेकर आया जाता है. अज़ादारों मैं तमाम तफसीलात को छोड़ देता हूँ, मुझे बस 2 मिनट में मसाइब को ख़त्म करना है. ज़रा मसाइब सुनिएगा. यहाँ से जब मुस्लिम को लाया जाता है, अज़ादारों लाकर इब्न ज़ियाद की खिदमत में पेश किया जाता है. इब्न ज़ियाद के बारे में कहा जाता है सलाम किया जाए अमीर को. मुस्लिम उस वक्त शुजाअत के साथ जवाब देते हैं, अम्माली अमीर सिवल हुसैन, आई डू नॉट हैव एनी आका, आई डू नॉट हैव एनी लीडर बिसाइड हुसैन इब्न अली अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम. बस ये सुनना होता है. अज़ादारों गज़ब में आ जाता है, गर्दन मारने का हुक्म दिया जाता है. अज़ादारों अब जब हुक्म दिया जाता है ना, सुनिएगा, अब मुस्लिम को दारुल अम्मारा की छत पर लेकर जाया जाता है. मुस्लिम के दोनों हाथों को बांध दिया जाता है. मुस्लिम एक ही ख्वाहिश कर रहे हैं, मुझे 2 रकत नमाज पढ़ने की इजाजत दी जाए. 2 रकत नमाज पढ़ते हैं मुस्लिम इब्न अकील. अज़ादारों जैसे ही नमाज खत्म होती है, अज़ादारों इस्तग़फ़ार पढ़ते जा रहे हैं, सलावात पढ़ते जा रहे हैं. हुसैन के साथ हैं तो 5 मुशाबहत नकल करता हूँ. अज़ादारों जब हुसैन का भी वक्त रुखसत था, अज़ादारों एक पत्थर आके लगता है माथे पे. हुसैन अपनी अबा के दामन को बुलंद करते हैं. एक 3 मुंह की बर्छी आके सीने मुबारक पर लगती है. अज़ादारों अब जो सीने मुबारक से बर्छी को निकालते हैं, खून का फव्वारा शुरू हो जाता है. बिस्मिल्लाह व बिल्लाह व फी सबीलिल्लाह. बस यही अंदाज है तो मुस्लिम का भी अंदाज है. अज़ादारों कभी सलावात पढ़ते जाते हैं, इस्तग़फ़ार पढ़ते जाते हैं. अज़ादारों ज़ीन से ज़मीन पे हुसैन का आना भी बड़ी मुसीबत है. मुस्लिम का भी दारुल अम्मारा की छत से नीचे आना भी बड़ी मुसीबत है. अज़ादारों शायद मुस्लिम अब्बास को कहना चाहते हो, अब्बास सिर्फ आप नहीं आए थे मुंह के बल, मेरे भी दोनों हाथ बंधे हुए थे. ऊपर से फेंके जाते हैं, हड्डियां चूर चूर होती है. वहां हुसैन जी से जमीन पे आ रहे हैं. ना जमीन पे लाशा था, ना जीन पर लाशा था. भाई तीसरी मुशाबहत सुनिएगा. मुस्लिम कभी जिंदगी में गला काटा गया, हुसैन कभी जिंदगी में गला काटा गया. चौथी मुशाबहत सुनिएगा. हुसैन के लाशे की भी बेअदबी की गई, लाशा ऐसे पामाल किया गया, सीने की हड्डियां पसलियों से जा मिली थी. वहां मुस्लिम और हानी का लाशा है. कभी कूफे की एक गली में, कभी कूफे की दूसरी गली में. आखिरी मुशाबहत सुनते जाइएगा. हुसैन की भी एक छोटी बेटी थी, मुस्लिम की भी एक छोटी बेटी थी. अज़ादारों जब शहादत मुस्लिम की खबर मिलती है, हुसैन बेटी को बुलाते हैं, सर पर अपने हाथ को फेरते हैं, कानों में बालियों को पहनाते हैं. बेटी समझ जाती है, ऐ मेरे आका क्या मैं यतीम हो चुकी हूँ. ये मुस्लिम की बेटी के साथ हुआ था. आका सकीना को मत देखने दीजिएगा, शाम गरीबा होगी, सकीना मुंतज़िर होंगी. कोई आएगा जो बालियां पहनाएगा, कोई आएगा जो सर سر پر ہاتھ پھیرے گا. شمر آتا ہے, کبھی رخساروں پر تماچے مارتا ہے, کبھی بالیوں کو ڈول. ماتم حسین یا حسین.
Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں سب جواب دیں پلیز. ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم. کوئی بھی اٹھانے آتا نہیں بے کس کا جنازہ عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرا جاتا ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا ہے مسلم کا لاشا. بھائی بھی نہیں بیٹے بھی نہیں کوئی بھی نہیں رونے والا. بھائی بھی نہیں بیٹے بھی نہیں کوئی بھی نہیں رونے والا. مسلم کے جنازے پر بیٹھی روتی رہی زہرا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. ٹوٹی ہے قیامت یہ کیسی دونوں پہ نظر ہے مولا کی. ٹوٹی ہے قیامت یہ کیسی دونوں پہ نظر ہے مولا کی. مسلم کی حمیدہ روتی ہے بےتاب ہے صغرا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کے یتیموں کو شہ نے سینے سے لگا کر پیار کیا. مسلم کے یتیموں کو شہ نے سینے سے لگا کر پیار کیا. یہ حال یتیمی کا لوگوں سمجھی تھی سکینہ عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے مسلم کا. ایک بار علی کے سجدے سے مسلم کی شہادت تک پہنچا. ایک بار علی کے سجدے سے مسلم کی شہادت تک پہنچا. یوں آل نبی کو امت نے ہر بار رلایا عید کے دن. کوفے میں پھرایا جاتا ہے، مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن کوفے میں کھایا جاتا ہے۔ جس گھر میں کوئی مر جاتا ہے سب آ کر پرسا دیتے ہیں، جس گھر میں کوئی مر جاتا ہے سب آ کر پرسا دیتے ہیں۔ ہم کس کو دیں مولا مہدی، مسلم کا پرسا عید کے دن کوفے میں پرایا جاتا ہے، مسلم لاشا عید کے دن کوفے میں پرایا جاتا ہے۔ ان کا دفنایا نہیں کفنایا نہیں، کیسی یہ تکلم غربت ہے، دفنایا نہیں کفنایا نہیں، کیسی یہ تکلم غربت ہے۔ کوفے میں مسلمان سارے تھے، مسلم تھا اکیلا عید کے دن کوفے میں پرایا جاتا ہے، مسلم کا لاشا عید کے دن کوفے میں پرایا جاتا ہے، مسلم کا لاشا کوئی بھی اٹھانے آتا نہیں، بے کس کا جنازہ عید کے دن کوفے میں اٹھا جاتا ہے، مسلم کا لاشا